I have been seeing a lot of videos on the internets about walking skirts, and it's time for me to make one. Hello, it's Icy. I am back with the next video. This is actually not in a series. Well, kind of not in a series. Maybe it's the start of a new series. It could be. So my plan is to make a Victorian / Edwardian style, not necessarily historically accurate, walking skirt. Now, I have been doing these projects for a while. If you've been watching them, you will have seen back the first one on this channel. Actually made a matrix style coat that had a circle skirt added to the jacket. But I tried to put some pockets in and they went terribly and I had to cut out a new skirt. And I said at the time, oh, that's okay, I'll use this other material to make a skirt one day. So that one day has arrived. It's now. Well, not this very day. This will take me a week or two probably. But the other reason I'm making this is because this will kind of be a foundation piece, I think, for the sewing armor project as well. I think it will actually end up being part of that costume too. And then in the future, I might go ahead and make a full Victorian style outfit. It's more than likely, actually, because I love that look. I have many long full skirts in my life that I wear on the reg when I am not 100% at home. So it will fit right in my wardrobe. So this is kind of going to be more like a modern-ish take on a Victorian walking skirt. It's probably still going to look very historical, but you know, I might have some modern fastenings. I haven't quite decided yet how this is going to go. But let me show you a quick mock-up idea. We'll have a quick look at how this is going to work. Okay, so I have a very, very fetching belt that you can see here. I'm just going to shout and hope the mic picks it up. Okay, so what I've got is this half circle. So you can see I've got the slits that I cut in here. Oh, can you see? There we go. No? There we go. Too much black. To make the pockets. There is the pocket on this side. It's the wrong kind of pocket for a Victorian type thing anyway. So it's all going to have to get unpicked and pulled out. And that's more than likely the first video or the first section of this. But let me show you how I think this is going to work. So there is a type of Victorian / Edwardian skirt called a fan skirt. And the back of it is essentially a half circle. So you literally do a half circle and you cut it on the fold, and then you add a front piece. And if oh, is this going to work? So I'm just tucking this in at kind of, I guess, the third mark or something here. Let's bulldog clips are an amazing accessory to your sewing stash. Truly, absolutely fantastic. Okay, so that's pinned to the front. Now, as you can see, I've got all this excess fabric here, but if I fake pleat it at the back, what have we got? You can see it's actually got the right look So I think this project should be relatively straightforward. We can hope. So really what the plan is to make a front piece that I can add to the front. I have plenty of this material, so that shouldn't be a problem. I need to work out if I want to re-add pockets. So if I do this, this is where the pocket is. It's kind of on the back, it's on the hip. It's cut way too high, which is the original problem. But if I could cut it down to sort of here and add a pocket in there. I'm not 100% sure I want a pocket at the back. I know pockets are fantastic and super helpful and wonderful and useful. Just seems a really odd spot. The other thing that I need to work out is how I want to close this. If I want to go really modern, the way would be is to cut a slit down the back and add in an invisible zipper, which is definitely not historically accurate. The other thing that I want to keep in mind is I do actually want to wear this with a corset. So I own a Victorian-ish corset. This is just an orchard corset, which is a modern corset maker, relatively cheap. It fits probably around the waist and the hips. It's a little gapey sort of here. That's not necessarily a huge issue, but it does actually give a very Victorian shape. So I would like to wear it with that. Basically what that means is I have it's a 32-inch waist corset, and it laces down closed. So it's basically like a 7-centimeter difference between my uncorseted waist and my relaxed waist, shall we say. Probably if I was wearing shapewear, I'd probably take off, say, 3 or 4 centimeters. So one thing I would like very much is the ability to change the waist measurement. So that might mean I need to think about some sort of overlap or some sort of clever way of being able to adjust the waist to different sizes. I'm thinking probably if the front panel sort of overlaps and fastens here, that I can have it so there's several anchor points maybe along the waistline, so I can actually adjust how tight the waist is. That's certainly an option. And I might be able to rig some sort of pocket as well there. We'll see. And then the final step will be to work out what I do with the hem. So a proper walking skirt has a very heavy duty hem that helps to add volume and flow. And is often interfaced sort of like, you know, many inches across the bottom. This is cut pretty much, I would say, to the length it needs to be already. I don't want to take off a bunch from the hem, so I will have to work out some way of doing like a false hem in order to not make this particularly short. So really, I think I'm only going to want to need like 1 or 2 centimeters off the bottom, and I think it's probably going to be about the right length. Now, I do still have all the other material, so I can probably rig something. I'll have to have a look and see what I'm going to do with the hem. But that's, oh, and the waistband, obviously. How thick, how big? Do I want it to sit like really high? If I want to wear this with the Elizabethan style corset for the sewing armor project, the waist does need to sit very high, otherwise it'll show under, like you'll show the other shirt underneath the corset. So these are all things that I need to consider. So yeah, that's the plan. So I think the first part I need to do is to make a front piece, which I have to think. It shouldn't be too hard. I should be able to rig that quite easily. Sew together all of the bits, put some pleats in the back, work out how I'm attaching it, work out some sort of waistband, etc, etc, etc. But I'm looking forward to making this project, so please hang around, join me on this journey, and we'll see what eventuates. So in the end, I've settled on this. So I can't even tell if that's actually showing up. It's a problem making black clothes all of the time, apparently. So there's a large top pleat here, and then underneath there are a series of smaller pleats. So quite small underneath, and then a slightly larger one, and then a big jump to this top pleat. I'm pretty happy with how that looks actually on. It's got a really good flow. Most of the Edwardian and Victorian style walking skirts that I've seen, either made on the internet or most of the fashion plates, actually have the pleats going the other way. However, there does seem to be an exception for skirts that either fasten on the hip, so some of the skirts fasten on the back hip, but there seems to be a style of, I think they're actually bicycle skirts, possibly split pants, that actually fasten where here, on the front, at the front of the hip, on the hip bones. So that's what I'm going to do. So my plan is actually to incorporate some pockets, possibly into the front section here. So so this is all pinned to the mannequin so it doesn't fall down. So as you can see, we've got this here. So my current plan is to actually take a piece of material, which I've neglected to grab, and turn part of it into like a placket on the inside to cover more of the inside, and then it's going to sort of hang down inside the front of the skirt and then come back up again and then join to the inside of the front section. I'll still leave the inner edge of the pocket, the inner edge of the pocket here, not sewn, so this top section can still fold down. You can still get the skirt on and off. I'll do the same on the other side as well, but that should mean that I have a pocket like down there. Will this work? I think technically, yeah, it should be fine. I think technically this could completely work as an idea for the pocket. However, the thing I'm worried about is it going to be all like lumpy down here, where the actual pocket section will hang? That's my main concern at the moment. But there's only one way to find out if it's going to work, and that's to actually try it. So that's the next plan, is to put the pockets in. I might also incorporate like a small watch pocket or like a credit card pocket, that sort of thing. And if I do that, I need to think about whether I want that accessible from like in front of the waistband, so like sew the waistband on but like leave a gap here, or just sort of inside the waistband here, or possibly even an additional sort of something from the side in from the pocket as well, but like an additional small flat type of thing, technical term. So it's going well. It's going pretty well. I'm a little bit sick right now, which is why it's all taking so long, and I probably sound very but nonetheless, it's getting there, I think. I wanted to give a little bit of an update. It's going very well. I've been sick with a really bad cold. I don't think it was the flu, it wasn't the nasty cough, but I've been really off for a whole week, pretty much. However, I did manage to do the pockets, and the idea worked so well. Yeah, it works really well. So let's do this. Okay, so I'm not wearing any sort of shapewear, corset, anything at the moment. One thing I realized after I put on my corset that I bought a long time ago and thought that it actually gave me some waist reduction, it actually doesn't. So my corseted waist is 35 inches in that corset, and my non-corseted waist is also 35 inches. So not sure what to do about that. The corset doesn't go down any further because of these ribs. Basically, it won't lace any tighter, so I will have to think about what I do about that. Anyway, the pockets. So, as you can see, they're nice and deep. They're on both sides. They sit flat on the front. Let's just imagine that's there. I do have like a belly that scoops under, so I have room. I've got lots of room for things to go in my pockets without mucking up the line of the skirt. So the way this works is, so I have a placket here of the skirt material, and then I have some just cheap poly pop that goes down into the pocket and comes back up on the front section. So it's also fastened here, so it's sort of sewn up about 3/4 and sewn up to about half on the inside. And then the front part of the pocket's actually attached to the front of the skirt. So when it's done up, I've got, it's perfect. It covers all of me. This additional kind of gap here means that when this side's also undone, I can actually take the skirt off over my hips. So that is great. So maybe I'll do this. That's better. The next step is a waistband. Now, because I know historically very thin waistbands are a thing, and they will look kind of, that's the design, but I would like to wear this skirt just out and about, which means I need a decent waistband. The plan is there'll be 2 waistbands. So this front section will have a waistband with buttonholes at the corners, and then the back section will have a waistband and it will have the buttons. So the skirt will be attached here and here, and the advantage with that is if my waist size goes down because perhaps I make or get a corset that actually fits, then I can move the buttons. Or, for example, perhaps I can have 2 sets of buttons, one that is for when I'm corseted and one for when I'm not. That's another option as well. So the waistband, I already have some strips cut out from the previous matrix coat project, which should be enough. The advantage with all of this is I've got heaps of scraps that I can reuse, which is really great. So I'll make the waistband. I found some, I don't have any interfacing. I do definitely want the waistband to be interfaced so it doesn't kind of flop. So I've got this really like soft fusible interfacing, but that's it. That's all I've got. But I did find in my stash, I bought this at some point. I don't even know what this is or why I bought it. Maybe to make a hat, maybe something. Anyway, I've got this really kind of stiffened, loose weave stuff. I I don't know how this is stiffened, so I think what I'll do is take a small sample and wash it and see if it loses its stiffening. But if it doesn't, then I'll use this, basically, because I don't really want to go for the full-on super duper heavy stiffening interfacing that I've got that I use for like those shoulder pads, because I think that would be too much. I don't really have many choices there. I've got some like netting that could work. I'll have to go through the stash and see if absolutely I can buy something if I need to, but I'm still not 100% well. I don't want it to drive anywhere or go anywhere, so the stash is where these things will come from. And then after the waistband goes on and that all fits, the last step is the hem. So I've actually got the sections sort of that were the rest of the curve, because the back half of this skirt was cut in a curve, and then there's an additional half a skirt on the matrix coat, so I've got all of those curves. So I'm just going to use that extra material that was around the curves to make the hem, and make it as a separate sewn on hem. If this, I have enough of this stuff, so if this stuff doesn't lose its stiffening when it gets washed, I might stiffen the hem as well. I know from the matrix coat, 2 layers of this material that the skirt's made out of is actually really pretty stiff already, so I don't know if it's actually required. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's the next part of the plan, but quick swish test. Very happy. Alrighty, next stage, the actual chopping of the hem. It's all going very nicely. It looks great. It flows. Look how well it sits. This is the back with the pleats. The buttons are all done. It fits beautifully. But yeah, the hem length is a little weird where the very back is floor length, but the back sides are longer, which is surprising me. But anyway, so I'm just getting everything to floor level. This dress form is set to my foot height, not wearing shoes. Anyway, so so that's probably the best if I get it so it's just touching the floor all the way around the back, and you can see naturally it's actually like another, what's that, 2-3 centimeters at the front. So that seems pretty good. Having it ever so slightly longer at the back, making a tiny train. If I'm wearing heels, you won't even see it, but I think that will be fine. So I'll start chopping off all the excess along the edge of the fold, and then I need to make a false hem. Now, I've lost all my material. It's here somewhere. So this was a circle skirt, but it was a circle skirt that didn't take up the entire expanse of material. So I actually have a circle section of about 10 or 15 centimeters that I can actually cut out of the existing material. So that's my plan. I'm just going to cut like a giant sort of strip in a semicircular fashion out of the rest of the material, and then put that on the inside of the skirt. And stiffening, I'm going to wait. I'm going to basically sew the bottom section in and then decide if I'm adding stiffening afterwards, because I want it to look good for everyday wear, not just Victorian wear, pretty much. So I don't want it to be too stiff, and when I've been wearing it so far, I've been wearing it without any petticoats because I don't really have a Victorian petticoat. I have an Elizabethan one, but it's a bit long. So yeah, I could buff it up a bit with a petticoat as well. I have to say I am naturally endowed, so I don't actually seem to need a bustle or a bum pad at all. My bum is sufficiently padded. So anyway, yeah, so the next step is cutting out. I'm done. I am actually so exquisitely delighted with how this has turned out. I am really, really, really pleased. It feels so perfect. So I ended up putting the pleats reverse at the back. The pocket system works so well. This is also the way I get in and out, as you saw before. One thing I didn't show before is the little watch pocket. I don't have a watch, but I do have an icicle, and I've built a little watch pocket just in the top here. So you can actually kind of, sort of, access that with the button done up. It's a little tight with the button done up, I think, honestly. But the whole thing works really well. Now, I'm not wearing a corset right now. I'm wearing shapewear. This does fit without shapewear, but the lines are not quite as nice. So I've got shapewear on for these test videos. I have worked out what is wrong with my corset, in that I have now discovered, after much research, the distance between the top bone of my hip, which is like here, and the bottom of my rib, which is literally just above the waistline here. In fact, not even. So the reason the corset is not working for me is because it's not designed to have like a distance of 1 inch between the bottom ribs and the top hips. So I will have to make something later. I will have to work out what I'm doing, whether I convert an existing, take my Elizabethan corset and put hips on it, or what I do. If I use an existing, like a Symington corset pattern, if I use the Andrea Black ones, which I've been looking into, I think that might be an option because I can convert it. That's for another project, and also not actually a soon project. I've got a bunch of other things I need to do first before I even get close to making a corset. However, the idea of this skirt is not just as a historical reconstruction. This is also for history bounding, which is also a word I have discovered only in the last year, but have been doing for many years. So basically, wearing historical style clothes in everyday life, hence this shirt with its fantastically almost 1890s puffed sleeves, which I've owned for years. So I have been dressing like this for a long time. At the moment, I am mostly at home. I very rarely venture out, like for example, going to work in the city. However, I would absolutely wear this to go to work in the city. So, however, I don't want to go to work in the city, so I'll work something out. But I'm so pleased. I'm so very, 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 very pleased with how this has worked. So for the Victorian style projects that will be coming, I will make a corset of some sort. It might not actually be a Victorian corset, but I'll use it to create. I haven't decided yet, far too early. I absolutely want a vest, like a gorgeous fitted vest with a shawl collar, maybe double-breasted. Absolutely. I do have more of this material, quite a bit more, so I have more than enough to make a vest. I possibly have enough to make a jacket as well. That's like big project though, so that's probably even more big project than actually making a corset, to be honest, because I do at least have a bit of it. Actually, I've also got experience, but not for many years, in making a coat, like a proper coat, but it's a big job. Coming up with other projects, I need to finish my sewing armor project, which is really the next one that has to get done. There's at least there's probably 2, maybe 3 more videos for that one. And then also I need to make another skirt with the beautiful check ponte that's in one of the shorts videos. for PAX Australia, which is a big gaming convention that happens in October. So I also need to make that before then. Yes, I do plan that far out because this is going so well, all of these sewing projects. I'm really, really pleased. And it is not at all like my previous sewing type projects, which all took way too long and then maybe didn't get finished. So thank you, YouTube. Thank you to anybody who's watched this, because doing the video stuff around it keeps me on track, keeps me finishing. So I'm getting to make these gorgeous, beautiful clothes and have honestly so much fun. Like, I'm having the best, most creative time. So thank you if you've been watching these. Thank you very much for watching. If you have, please subscribe. If you haven't, that would be amazing. Leave me a comment below. I will get back to you. I do like to chat. If you have any advice or suggestions, please do ask. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.